And as always on the John Oakley Show on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Sue Ann Levy joins us, Toronto Sun columnist. Welcome to the show, Sue Ann. Good to have you on again.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. Good to talk with you.
So where do I start? Let's start off with the announcement that Mayor John Tory made today. I believe he was down around Dundas Street to make an announcement that said, hey, listen, we are going to reopen this project 2 months early. He also had this to say about construction work in the city.
We're going to try our hardest. We won't always be able to do things early because there are complications that arise. There are just schedules that end up taking exactly as long as we thought. But I want them to know this is evidence of a new culture that we're trying to bring to how we do these jobs at City Hall, every single one of them, if we possibly can.
Sue Ann, we know that you and Mayor Tory have a difference of opinions on several topics. Where do you sit on the water main project topic?
Well, I would say not so fast, Mayor Tory, because, see, I get to see a lot of these projects from biking and jogging and training for half marathons. And one is stuck in my craw, a couple of them. One is on Bedford Road at Davenport. That project has been ongoing for a year and a half with no end in sight. They keep changing the sign to say it's going to end this month, that month, and now it's the end of September. So, with photographer Jack Boland and I went down to the site today at 11:30 a.m. only to find absolutely no one on site doing any work. Absolutely no one.
Early lunch break?
No, just nobody working. And we talked to a postie who delivers mail in the area, and he says he rarely sees people working. So the story gets better. So Jack said to me, "Oh, there are two people standing in the corner. We'll go talk to those people." So turns out that one of the people was the site manager, because the site office door was ajar, but nobody was inside. And the site office manager was standing on the corner yakking away to some woman, unidentified woman, and in Adidas flip-flops, that's, I guess, construction-certified Adidas flip-flops, carrying bags of gifts which looked like there were liquor bottles in them. And he was standing there on the corner. And we said to him, why is nobody working on site today? He says, mumbled something about there's a problem with the subcontractor. So that was not the only site. There was another site on Bolton Drive. I jog a lot up and down, and they've been doing a lot of water main replacement in that area. Again, nobody on site doing any work whatsoever, and that's tied up about 3 streets in the area, high-traffic streets. Again, site manager says to me when I go to the site office that they're doing water testing that'll take 3 days. So the city takes 3 days to come back with the test, and nobody's going to be on the job till next Monday at the earliest. And they might be 3 or 4 months behind, he said. So this is the new culture at City Hall. I beg to differ, number one. Number two, I think that aside from the select projects that get a lot of attention because they're in the downtown core, this is probably the rule rather than the exception, what I saw today.
Okay, so you're saying this runs in direct contradiction with what Mayor Tory is saying, that, he's extended 32 construction projects across the city with work hours extended and overnight work. You're just not seeing that.
I'm not seeing that, and I'm certainly not seeing work that could be done till 11 o'clock being done. I talked to a source who's well familiar with these projects a couple of months ago, and he said that the 11 p.m. Work schedule is built into most contracts, but contractors refuse to work those hours, number one, and city engineers don't enforce those hours. So that's another big problem.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about the cost to refurbish a playground jungle gym in Scarborough.
You mean Tetanus Park?
That's what they're calling it. What's it really called? Natal Park or Natal Park?
It's Natal Park.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's I guess a forgotten park near the GO station in Scarborough. It hugs the railway lines, and it's a beautiful park. It's actually 2.3 hectares. And a woman who uses the park called me after my Stepgate story appeared, because she said, well, I've got my own kind of park gate. So I went out there the other day, and here we have this playground equipment that's 25 to 30 years old, rusted out, jagged edges. It looks like rust I would say rustgate. It's a rust bucket. And she's got a 2-year-old little girl, lots of little kids using the playground, and she's afraid that it's an accident waiting to happen, that somebody's going to be hurt. She talked to her counselor, who happens to be the budget chief, who referred her to Parks and Rec's officials, and they said the earliest they could get to this was 2019 or 2020, and it was going to cost $150,000.
Wow, that seems like a lot of money, and that's dedicated just to replacing the jungle gym only.
Well, from what I hear, yes.
Huh. So what else do you know about that?
Well, it speaks to everything I talked about with Stepgate. First of all, and a number of other issues. One being that there are poor areas of the city that don't get city funding, and certainly don't get Section 37, that developer money that can be used.
Are you implying, Sue Ann, that because this is out of the eyes of tourists, that maybe we're not paying attention to it?
I'm just implying that it's a little bit more forgotten because it's out in Scarborough, and it's the same story as with the transit issue. And I think, Kathy Bailey, who I interviewed, expressed the same concerns. The other concern that she expressed was the whole tendering procurement process and what's going on with that at City Hall. And the, inflated prices, the fact that people come in knowing it's government and, cost things out a lot higher.
Because she did a little looking around, according to your latest column in The Sun.
And she works in purchasing and procurement.
Oh.
She actually works in procurement.
So that's convenient. So she has an inside track on some of the things like this. She said similar equipment installed in other Toronto parks cost closer to $50,000. She also found a premium play set from Costco.
I found that.
Oh, you found that?
Yes.
Do tell.
For that. So I looked up this gorgeous play set, which is probably 3 times the size of what I saw at Natal Park, and it was $24,000. Of course, all the naysayers were on Twitter today saying, "Oh, it's pine, this, that, it's not commercially viable." But hey, you know what?
Replace it in a couple of years.
Yeah,
you can afford to.
Yes, it's a 1/5 of the price. So and Gary Crawford also admitted, being budget chief, that a large part of the price is the installation costs. The fact that we have to use union labor, 30% premium on the installation. So there are a lot of issues, and this sort of thing is pervasive throughout the city, unfortunately.
So you're saying there needs to be big changes in the city and how we do business.
Well, the culture isn't quite turned around yet. There's work to be done.
Okay. Yeah, to say the least, $150,000 for a playground. Wow. How do I get that contract?
Yes.
I'll nail together some boards and make a slide. Sue Ann, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I don't know. I'm feeling like you're not going to be attending any dinner parties in the near future with John Tory.
Oh, he'll have to get over it.
All right. Sue Ann, great talking to you again.